Introducing the newest $8.5 billion powerhouse in the U.S. Navy fleet, the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. These floating fortresses are more than ships. They're symbols of American strength on the seas. Ready for action at a moment's notice, these carriers are the go-to force for crises, striking fear into potential adversaries. Packed with top-notch sailors, they're equipped to dominate the seas, execute precision strikes, and handle cyber challenges. But it's not just about firepower. These carriers are the ultimate multitaskers, ensuring free seas, supporting allies, and even fighting threats to merchant ships. With 10 carriers, they stand tall as the United States' superpower status, outshining all rivals. So how does the Nimitz-class carrier stack up against the world's naval giants? What technologies make it a formidable force in the high-stakes game of modern warfare? And just how do these floating fortresses handle the ever-evolving landscape of cyber threats? Let's find out. The USS Nimitz is a colossal aircraft carrier named after Admiral Chester W. Nimitz, a key commander in the U.S. Navy during World War II. This maritime giant is part of the Nimitz class, a group of nuclear-powered aircraft carriers that represent the pinnacle of naval strength. Commissioned in May 1975, the USS Nimitz has held its ground as a formidable war vessel. Now let's get to know its companions in this impressive class: USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, USS Carl Vinson, USS Theodore Roosevelt, USS Abraham Lincoln, USS George Washington, USS John C. Stennis, USS Harry S. Truman, USS Ronald Reagan, and USS George H.W. Bush. The lead ship, USS Nimitz, affectionately nicknamed Old Salt, set sail in 1975, while the most recent addition, USS George H.W. Bush, joined the fleet in January 2009. What's surprising is that the Nimitz-class supercarriers are often 3 times the length of a football field, reaching an impressive 1,092 feet. These floating cities are crewed by over 5,000 members, turning the vast expanse into a bustling hub of activity. Powering these behemoths are 2 A4W nuclear reactors tucked into separate compartments. These reactors employ nuclear fission to generate heat, turning water into steam. The steam then passes through 4 turbines shared by the 2 reactors, driving a gearbox that powers 4 propeller shafts. This incredible setup propels the carriers to a maximum speed of over 30 knots, boasting a whopping 260,000 brake horsepower. The 4 bronze propellers, each with a diameter of 25 feet and weighing a hefty 66,000 pounds, are accompanied by 2 massive 29-foot high and 22-foot long rudders. Thanks to nuclear power, these ships can operate continuously for over 20 years without refueling, and their predicted service life exceeds 50 years. Crafted with precision, all these warships, with a displacement of 104,000 tons each, were built by Huntington Ingalls Industries Newport News Shipbuilding in Virginia. The cost? Approximately $8.5 billion per carrier. Now let's uncover the real powerhouse of the USS Nimitz, the air wing. Back in the Cold War days, carrier air wings were massive, even bigger than what we see today. Picture this. In the 1980s, a typical carrier air wing was a force to be reckoned with, featuring 2 squadrons of 12 F-14 Tomcat air superiority fighters, 2 squadrons of 12 FA-18 Hornet multi-role fighters, an A-6 Intruder attack bomber squadron, and more. Fast forward to today, and the carrier air wing has undergone a transformation. Its mission is to pack a punch, striking targets hundreds of miles away from the carrier while also providing a robust defense for the battle group. The current U.S. Navy carrier air wing is a formidable force, comprising 4 strike fighter squadrons, each with 10 or 12 FA-18 EF Super Hornets, or 3 Super Hornet squadrons, and 1 10-aircraft squadron of F-35C Lightning IIs, adding up to over 40 strike fighters. But that's not all. There's an electronic attack squadron with 7 EA-18G Growlers, a carrier airborne early warning squadron equipped with advanced Hawkeye planes, a helicopter combat squadron with MH-60 Seahawks, and a helicopter maritime strike squadron with MH-60R Seahawks. Some of these helicopters are strategically based on other ships within the carrier strike group. And here's the twist. A Fleet Logistics Support Squadron detachment featuring C-2A Greyhounds keeps the air wing running smoothly. And guess what? In 2021, the game changed with the introduction of the CMV-22B Osprey from the newly established Fleet Logistics Multi-Mission Squadron detachments, gradually replacing the C-2As. Alright, let's dive into the robust defenses of the USS Nimitz, those not-so-secret weapons that make it more than just an enormous floating airfield. Besides the impressive aircraft they carry, Nimitz-class aircraft carriers are armed to the teeth with cutting-edge weapon systems. Here, 2 or 3 Mark 29 guided missile launching systems take center stage. These mighty systems can launch either RIM-162 evolved Sea Sparrow missiles or RIM-7 Sea Sparrow missiles. These missiles aren't just for show, they're a crucial part of the carrier's defense strategy, ready to intercept threats from a distance. But that's not all. The carriers pack an extra punch with 3 or 4 20mm Phalanx 6-barreled Mark 15 close-in weapon system, or CIWS installations. Now, these aren't your average guns. They're automated, designed to engage and obliterate close-in threats with an astonishing rate of fire, 3,000 rounds per minute. Imagine the rapid response and effective defense against incoming threats that these systems bring to the table. They're the unsung heroes of the carrier's defense mechanism. Hold on, there's more in the arsenal. The carriers feature 2 Mark 49 guided missile launching systems, each armed with RIM-116 rolling airframe missiles, or RAM. Quick reaction, fire and forget missiles, RAM is the carrier's go-to defense against anti-ship missiles, ensuring a swift and decisive response. And if that wasn't enough, the carriers are armed with Mark 38 25mm machine gun systems, adding an extra layer of close-in defense. These powerful machine guns are not to be underestimated. They're crucial for engaging surface threats, especially nimble enemy swimmers and fast surface vessels. Now let's unveil the strategic dance of the Nimitz-class carrier strike group, a formidable force that ensures the USS Nimitz is never alone when it ventures into the seas. When the aircraft carrier deploys, it brings along a Carrier Strike Group, or CSG, a synchronized ensemble of other warships and supply vessels that play crucial roles in the operation. Now, let's talk weaponry. The Nimitz-class carriers are armed with short-range defensive weapons, serving as the last line of defense against enemy missiles and aircraft. However, despite their might, aircraft carriers are particularly vulnerable to attacks from below, especially from submarines. These carriers are high-value, expensive assets that are not easily replaceable, making them strategically valuable and, consequently, potential prime targets. Recognizing this vulnerability, aircraft carriers are never sent into the unknown alone. They always have at least one submarine as a guardian, providing protection against underwater threats. But that's not all. The Carrier Strike Group includes other vessels that bring additional capabilities to the table. Imagine this ensemble: up to 6 surface combatants, including guided missile cruisers and guided missile destroyers, take their position in the strike group. These vessels are the workhorses, primarily engaging in anti-aircraft warfare and anti-submarine warfare. In the past, frigates played a key role in these strike groups, but they've been retired from the United States Navy service. However, with the introduction of new Constellation-class frigates, the Navy plans to reinvigorate this component of the strike group. But here's the kicker. These vessels are not just there for show. They bring long-range Tomahawk missiles to the party and boast the Aegis combat system, adding layers of defense against potential threats. In essence, a typical strike group is a powerful team, ensuring the carrier is surrounded by a web of capabilities, ready to respond to any potential threat. Now let's dive into the fascinating details of what makes up the USS Nimitz and its crew of companions in the vast ocean. As part of the Carrier Strike Group, the Nimitz isn't out there on its own. It's surrounded by a powerful team. Not only does the carrier have its trusty submarine companions, expertly navigating the depths to locate and neutralize any potential threats from surface ships and other submarines, but there's also an ammunition oiler and supply ship in the mix. Provided by the Military Sea Lift Command, these ships offer crucial logistical support, ensuring that the carrier and its team stay fueled, armed, and ready for action. Now, the makeup of each strike group can vary. It depends on the specific deployment, mission, and what's available at the time. This flexibility allows the Navy to tailor the strike group to meet the unique challenges it might face. But here's the real talk. The USS Nimitz, the United States' oldest active aircraft carrier, is approaching the end of an era. These Nimitz-class carriers, initially designed for a 50-year service life, are reaching the retirement phase. And when it's time to say farewell, it's not a simple process. The deactivation of the USS Nimitz, estimated to cost between $750 million to $900 million, involves carefully handling the nuclear power plants, removing radioactive material, and dealing with other contaminated equipment. If we talk about the timeline, the USS Nimitz is expected to retire in 2026. Previously, reports hinted at the offloading process starting in 2025, with the official inactivation scheduled for 2027. Following the Nimitz, the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower is set to retire the next year, and it doesn't stop there. Other Nimitz-class aircraft carriers are potentially waiting their turn for a farewell tour. But don't worry, there's a plan in motion. The Navy aims to replace the Nimitz-class carriers with the Gerald R. Ford-class carriers. It's like passing the torch to the next generation, ensuring that the legacy of naval power continues into the future. Over the next 3 decades, it's a one-for-one swap as the Navy bids adieu to the Nimitz-class carriers and welcomes the cutting-edge Gerald R. Ford-class carriers. So, do you believe that possessing an aircraft carrier like the Nimitz grants the United States supremacy over formidable rivals like Russia and China in the realm of naval power? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more compelling discussions on military technology.